their policy on people bringing firearms into the schools, and then she also worked on getting signs fixed at the parks that said that no guns were allowed in the parks. So things like that. Talked to this lady for 15-20 minutes, and when I got done, the message that I saw from her, she was at that time she was the chairman of the Clark County Republican County, and the message that I got from her is that each one of us, that includes every single one of you, we can make a difference. Each one of us can do something, and I have to say that she was key and paramount in my actively getting out here and doing something. I'm here in part because of Linda Wilson, and she, with all that time I spent out with her and all the time that she spent out there, we were able to get her in to the 17th District. So our 17th District Representative, Linda Wilson, will be our next speaker.
All right, Linda! Woo! Good morning. Thank you all for inviting me here. I am your newly elected 17th District Representative. I'm right in the middle of the heart of Clark County. I have been an advocate for your Second Amendment rights for quite some time now. To start with, I am a certified NRA instructor, and I started out actually several years ago when Rick mentioned that I was looking. I was out one day in a park and noticed that the signs in the park said that their firearms were prohibited, and I thought that the ordinance was wrong. I thought the sign was wrong. I didn't think the ordinance was wrong. And then I discovered, after a little research, that the ordinance actually was wrong. It indicated that we couldn't have firearms in the parks. And so I went down to their Clark Park Department and talked to them. And I actually indicated to them that I knew of a lawsuit that happened in Seattle, and the Second Amendment Foundation actually sued the city of Seattle because they tried to do the same thing. The city of Seattle fought that, lost, spent a great deal of money, and I let them know that the Second Amendment Foundation was actually interested in the fact that there was all kinds of signs down here in Clark County. So I thought it might be better for them to maybe change the signs rather than having to deal with the Second Amendment Foundation. So I actually took it to the commissioners, and they ultimately changed them, and all the signs in Clark County now do not say that. They say no firearms discharged in the parks. And we all know you don't shoot in the park. So the second thing that I did, once I got rolling on that, and I'm telling you this is because this just became kind of a passion of mine, and I just started working with it, and I started digging deeper, and I started looking at the ordinances throughout the county and the different cities. And when I found that there was an ordinance that actually disarmed us, it gave the commissioners the right to disarm us during the declared emergency. And most people didn't even know that thing existed. But when you start digging into your ordinances and your municipal codes, you see that there are things like this that are, unconstitutional. So I started doing more research, and I started going to commissioners' meetings, and I brought it to them basically every meeting because it took them a while to decide to change it, and they finally did. So now that actual ordinance is actually changed. I also found part in an ordinance where they were going to shut down every business that sold firearms or ammunition during the time of a declared emergency. So I tried to really rally the gun dealers down there to see if they would maybe, help me out. And, there was a kind of a lot of apathy down there. And so anyway, I pushed on, and I wound up changing that one as well. It took me quite a while. I kept telling them if you'd just fix it all at once, I wouldn't be back. And I said, I'll be back. And I was every meeting. But I guess and the reason why this happened, this particular ordinance, was because in 2005, our emergency services of Clark County sent out a blanket emergency services plan. And in that plan was this particular piece in the ordinance. What that means is that every city in Clark County has this buried in their ordinances. And I started working with some of the cities. Some of the cities still haven't changed, but it's good as, we have this. What happened here is we have overreaching, unconstitutional initiative that now has become state law, and that's why we're here today. But it is important to watch your gun rights locally. That's real important to be watching locally and dig into some of those things that you have. So I just want you to know that for me, I did make a difference down there. I am an advocate for your Second Amendment rights. I'm now, because I'm a legislator, an advocate for all of your rights. Thank you very much. Where is he? Where is he?
Thank you very much. All right, I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and get her in here right now. Senator Jan Angel came out. She wanted to say a couple of words here.
All right, let's go. Good morning. I'm Senator Jan Angel, 26th District, and I probably am the elected that got beat up the most for supporting gun rights and Second Amendment last year in the most expensive race in the history of the state legislature to flip the power of the Senate. But you stood strong, and you can make a difference. And I just want to say to you, when our founders put the Constitution together, they put this as the Second Amendment, not the Fourth, the Fifth, the 10th. So it must have been pretty darn important to them. So be vigilant, be patient, but be strong and bold, because this was important to our founders, and by gosh, it's important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, someone come up and walked up to me here just a few minutes ago, and they said, well, you maybe probably want to introduce yourself to everyone. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. A lot of you have already met me. My name's Rick Howley. I lead the Gun Rights Coalition, which is a coalition that we put together following the hearings last year on 594. We're not limited to 594, we're not limited to Washington, we're working on gun rights everywhere, but it came about because of 594. So, all right, now our next speaker that we have is going to be Alan Gottlieb with the Second Amendment Foundation. He's the Executive Vice President for the Second Amendment Foundation, Chairman of the Citizens Committee of the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, and as we all know, the Second Amendment Foundation has been a leader in fighting legal battles, not just here, but across the nation. So, here we got Alan.
All right. Thank you, Rick, and thank you for everything you're doing. It's really much appreciated by all of us. I'm going to be brief with you all today because I have a very bad cold that I picked up in London a couple days ago while I was working against some gun control in the UK and the EU. And I picked this up on the way back because I'm having a hard time speaking. But I want to thank you all for being here, and I figured if you were all going to be here, no matter how sick I was going to be here. So thank you all. As most of you are aware, the Second Amendment Foundation, I and a number of other individual and organizational plaintiffs have filed suit against 594 in federal court.
Oh yeah! Yay!
We hope to get an injunction against the enforcement of many parts of 594, which we all know how bad it is and impossible to comply with. And as a result, I think we're going to be fairly successful on the court. That's just one part of our fight. The other part is the legislative fight, and that's why we're here today. And I want to read you from an email that Zach Silk and the Washington Alliance for Gun Responsibility, WAGR, the 594 people, put out in an email blast to supporters this week. I'm going to intersperse it with some of my comments. This year, there's nowhere for the legislators to hide. Okay, so far we're in agreement, and that's why we're here. Together, we overwhelmingly pass background checks on all gun sales. Notice, they don't say temporary transfers or loans. We won nearly every city in the state. What they don't say is they lost the majority of counties across the state. It was an overwhelming victory and a reminder that the people of Washington State want to take action to reduce gun violence. We all want to reduce violence, not just gun violence. That's why we choose to own firearms for self-defense. Now we're going back to Olympia, went on, to make sure the representatives heard the message. Voters want stronger gun laws. No, they don't. Every national poll says the exact opposite. Continued. And this time, we'll be watching. And so will we.
Yeah.
We've developed a way to track our representatives' support of responsible gun laws this session so we can hold them accountable. We're excited to announce that starting this year that we'll release gun responsibility legislative scorecard. And so will we. But ours will be a gun rights scorecard. Then it goes on, click here to send a message to your representatives asking that they support stronger gun laws and remind them we're watching. And that's why we're here today, to remind our elected officials that our gun rights are not for sale to the highest bidder.
Hell yeah!
The gun lobby and their cronies in the legislature continue. Of course, they don't talk about their half-dozen billionaires that fund their deception. Often work in back channels to make sure responsible gun bills never get a vote on the floor. Well, I have news for them. All of you here are not a back channel. We're here in broad daylight for all to see. Unlike their biggest fat cat supporter, billionaire Michael Bloomberg, who's hiding in New York City. But we're not easily fooled. Well, they may not be, but they don't say with the tens of millions of dollars they sure fooled many voters. We're going to judge bill sponsors, committee votes, and leadership, as well as votes on the floor, to make sure we get scores that genuinely reflect representatives' attitudes about gun safety. They sure don't want to use the word gun control, do they? But they can put as much lipstick on that pig as they want to, but we all know it's gun control. Period. And we need their help to make sure they get the message. And we must make sure that the gun safety message is unmasked for what it really is. It's an attack on our gun rights. Zach Silk and the Washington Responsibility Alliance for Gun Responsibility in their email blast end by saying, "Thank you for doing all you can to make sure this movement still has legs." Well, we're here today to cut those legs off. Thank you. Greg, help.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Okay, the next one, we're shoehorning him in here just to get a minute or two to talk. He is also another one of my representatives down in the 17th District. We got Senator Don Benton out here.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Well, first of all, thank you all for being out here. You know, it's this kind of activism that makes a difference in our government. I'm Senator Don Benton from the 17th District. This is my 21st year fighting to protect your gun rights here in Olympia. You know, I had a great opportunity a few years back to go and be a coach, a shotgun coach, certified shotgun trap coach at the Boy Scouts of America National Jamboree. And we trained, at least at my station, 8,000 boys on how to trap shoot, okay? And I gotta tell you, something stuck out that I remember from that. We had 4 or 5 kids from Scotland there, and every day they'd come to the range and they'd get right back in line again and come back around. And I said, gosh, you know, there's a lot going on at the Jamboree, guys. Don't you want to see anything else? And they said, well, we can see most of this stuff at home, but we can't shoot a gun at home in Scotland. Then that's why we come back and get in this line all day, every day, okay? That's not going to happen in America, all right? All right? Whether you're a hunter, whether you're a competitive shooter, a sportsman, right? Or maybe you just collect guns, or maybe you just like guns. It doesn't matter, right? I want you to know that no matter where you fall on that spectrum, I'm here to protect your right to exercise that, whatever you choose it to be, whether it's hunting, right, collecting, or just you like guns. That's our right. Second Amendment right, protecting the Constitution. And I am a politician, yes, right, by definition. But I believe in the Constitution, and I've always backed up the Constitution. I believe in it. I think they knew what they were doing, and I think it's still good today, every word of it, just like it was when they wrote it. And I will never betray the Second Amendment rights or the Second Amendment supporters in this state. So the message to you guys is, thank you for what you're doing. Keep it up. Keep the pressure on. We need your help. The speakers here today and the legislators that are fighting for Second Amendment rights need to be held up. We need that support. So keep doing what you're doing, and we will continue to protect and prevail as we have. Thank you very much for what you're doing. Keep it up.
Great, thanks for making it out here, Senator. All right. Our next speaker is part of the dynamic duo. Now, if you're down in the Southwest Washington area there, you've probably seen their signs around. We had Linda Wilson, who was out here speaking a few minutes ago, and Liz Pike as well. Liz Pike is going to be our next speaker as well. And I crossed paths with her several times as well, out on the campaign trail over the summer, helping them out. Liz is she's been a fierce defender of the Second Amendment right with us. She's a member of Clark Rifles, Clark County Firearms Range, and a member of the National Rifle Association. Served on the Camas City Council, co-organizer Washougal Farmers Market, and operates Shangri-La Farm. I think that's pretty much it on the on her biography as such. I have to say that having seen this lady out there working on the campaign trail, she works hard and she's out there fighting for us. So.
Thank you, Rick. What an honor to be here with all of you patriots today. And there's an old saying that it never rains on a gun rally at Olympia, so thank you for being here today because the forecast called for lots of rain today. I am here on your behalf and the behalf of all Washingtonians to protect your Second Amendment rights. You know, the I-594 initiative is just the tip of the iceberg with the people that want to confiscate and control your right to bear arms. It's not about, it's really about protecting us from tyrannical government. That was the whole thing about the Second Amendment in our Constitution. And whether it's land rights, I mean, the government is trying to tell us whether we can put a pond on our own property, for crying out loud. We need them out of our life. We need them out of our healthcare system. We need them off our land and pretty much out of everything except the things that they do best, which are only a couple things. So thank you for being here today. I just want to make sure and affirm with you that this is in the spirit of bipartisan cooperation. This is not a Democrat or a Republican thing. In fact, this lapel pin that I have on my jacket was given to me by my good friend and Democrat colleague, Brian Blake, Representative Brian Blake, and we are all going to stand together, Democrats and Republicans, to correct the unconstitutional attributes of I-594. And as Senator Jan Angel said, we do need to be patient and we need to be smarter about it than the people who authored that initiative. So by God, you have my pledge today that I will fix that. And thank you for being here today. Okay, I'm done.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, our next speaker coming up today is going to be Brian Judy. He's the Senior Legislative Liaison for the NRA-ILA. Based out of the ILA Region State and Local Affairs Office in Sacramento. Responsibility includes Washington, Alaska, Utah, and Montana. He's been with the NRA-ILA for 29 years and has been lobbying in Olympia here for 22 years. When he's not working to protect the right to keep and bear arms, he enjoys it through hunting, recreational shooting, action pistol shooting, and shotgun sports. So, Brian?
All right, Brian!
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, gun lobby.
Good morning. Hell yeah!
You know, I say that somewhat affectionately, but very, very seriously. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you are the gun lobby. It's not the National Rifle Association. It's not the Second Amendment Foundation. It's not Brian Judy when I'm lobbying here on your behalf. You are the gun lobby. You know, it's misrepresented by the media. They try to characterize it as the big bad NRA. But it is you folks. It is the millions of NRA members who provide the financial support, who provide the communication to legislators, provides the influence and the power of the NRA. You know, when I am lobbying here on your behalf, you can talk to your legislators. The only reason they're interested in talking to me is because of you. Because they know there's 100,000 NRA members in the state of Washington who care about their gun rights. So I really can't emphasize enough that it is critical for you people to get involved, and I appreciate you being here. But what you need to do is go back home after you've left here, talk to your legislators, go back home and talk to your friends and your neighbors, your shooting buddies, and get them involved. It's going to be critical moving forward for you to get more involved on the local level. It's important to be involved in the legislative process right now. It's critical to be involved in the political process and help elect your friends and unelect people who want to take your rights. But moving forward, even more importantly, it's going to be important for you all to become lobbyists in your neighborhood. You need to become lobbyists with your friends and your neighbors, because it wasn't big government that just stripped our rights. It was voters in Washington. It wasn't a majority of the voters. You know, a lot of people say, think majorities elect. Majorities don't elect. The people who show up elect. And on 594, there was about a little over 50% turnout. And they got 59% of the vote. You know, they were saying 90% of Washingtonians support background checks. Well, it was 59%. What that means is that if 1 out of 10 voters knew the truth about 594, 1 out of 10 voters knew the truth and changed their vote, it would have gone down. So we need you to be involved. We need you to educate your friends and your neighbors. 2014 did mark a shift in the landscape, because you folks have been, it's not me, it's not the NRA lobbyist who's been able to hold the line in Olympia, it's because of you folks, but the line has been held. Legislators, what happens in the legislature when a bill's introduced is legislators pore over the details. They analyze all the details of the bill. And that's why 594, or its predecessor, 1588, the so-called background check bill, which is really about a government list of law-abiding gun owners, that's why it didn't pass the legislature. But the other side spent $10 million obfuscating the issue, telling half the story, attacking law enforcement, who was virtually unanimously opposed to 594 because they knew the truth. And they convinced voters to support that on misinformation. You know, the voters just watch 30-second TV commercials, and they make their decisions based on those. So they weren't getting the story. So it's critical moving forward for you folks to educate your friends and your neighbors. NRA is going to be involved in a process. We're already working with legislators. We're working on an agenda to try to overturn 594, to try to show the ridiculousness, to try to show the problems. You know, it's just ridiculous that when I'm out shooting on private land with my 19-year-old son, that I can't give him a firearm to shoot. But that's the fact. It's not about background checks. It's not about sales at gun shows and on the internet. It's about private transfers. About every time a firearm changes hands. We're going to shed the light on that through the legislative process. But you must get involved locally. You are the gun lobby, and now is the time to mobilize. Thank you very much for being here.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, someone up here mentioned that this is a diverse crowd, and it's not a partisan issue that we're talking about here. You know, the right to provide for our own self-defense or our own protection. Actually, I shouldn't say the right to. I should say the responsibility to provide for our own protection. It's not drawn on party lines. It's not drawn on any lines. That right, it belongs to each and every single one of us. So as such, our next speaker is going to be one of our Democratic representatives, Representative Brian Blade. Member of the Democratic Caucus, voice for moderation, longtime friend of sportsmen hunters, the Second Amendment in that body, publicly and loudly opposed I-594 in his district, where it went down in flames, which is, at least it went down somewhere. Actually, it did in most of the state. It was only two or three counties that ended up getting enough votes in order to make it pass. So he was a logger for 10 years, and he's a member of the Coastal Harvest Board. Yeah, that's enough probably for his introduction anyway. Let's go ahead and let Representative Blake speak.
I think you can add that I got my elk this year, so it was a good year. And so yeah, I'm State Representative Brian Blake. I live in Aberdeen, and grew up in a family that hunted. And by the time I was 7 years old, I was sitting in front of the shotgun shell reloader, reloading ammunition for next weekend's duck hunt. Didn't take long to learn the specifics of how to use a metallic cartridge reloading machine. And so by the time I was a young child, I had access to the gun caps, which was a walk-in closet with a deadbolt lock. But I had access to that. I could come out, go in, get a firearm out, disassemble it, clean it, put it back. I was given responsibility as a child, and if I abused that responsibility, there were consequences. So I think that's where we need to go with reducing violence of all kinds in this state, is education. So as you've heard, I'm here today. I did strongly oppose 594, helped author a column that we published in every newspaper in the district about why we were opposing 594. Every sheriff in my district opposed 594, and we beat 594 in the 19th district. That said, they're coming back again, and it's important that you go out, reach your friends and neighbors, get people to vote, help people understand. This is a culture war, folks. They don't like what we do, and they want to control what we do. And it's important that we organize, and we show up, and we vote. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the next speaker, but stay involved. We're in this for the long haul. The one thing I also would bring up, we do talk about the Second Amendment, and I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, but never forget our state constitution. Article 1, Section 24. What does it say? The right of the individual citizen to bear arms in defense of themselves or the state shall not be impaired. So remember that.
All right, at this point, I think we're pretty well set up at this point over here. If everyone wants to step over here when they get a moment here and get a ticket, if you don't already have one, we're gonna do some drawings here in a few minutes and give away a few goodies to everyone. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, jump down there and get a ticket. All right, now our next speaker here is Paige Byron with the Pink Pistols. It's an LGBT group that supports private firearms ownership and favors armed self-defense. It was founded in response to a 2000 article in Salon by writer Jonathan Roosh. Originally was came under the name C-Spear, and they've been broadening the firearms community through expanded diversity. She lives in the Linwood area and is a longtime member of the firearms community, certified NRA instructor, and 20-year veteran in the U.S. Marine Corps.
Hello, folks. Well, what the Pink Pistols does is that we teach members of the LGBT community to use a firearm safely. And many of them are concerned because they may have suffered verbal harassment or physical harassment. And for some of them, the need to own a firearm is imperative. But they're concerned about going to a range, going to some place where they feel they might be further discriminated against. So that's where the Pink Pistols comes in. We encourage them to come with us. We take them to a range. We show them how to safely use a firearm. The training, the brief training we give them may be the only training they ever get before they purchase a firearm for self-defense. Now, the way we work this is I bring all of my firearms, and I have a lot, to the range, and a variety of handguns and long arms. And then I let them try them out. I let them try them because some of them have a big recoil, some have a small recoil, others have a big grip. So they need to understand what type of firearm is going to work best for them. They need to be able to feel like they have enough knowledge to go out and purchase a firearm, and that they understand how the laws in the state of Washington work. Now, if they don't normally have enough time or are concerned about being able to go to a firearm or being able to go to a full NRA class. So this is sort of all the training that they're going to end up getting. Now, if I take them to a range and I start handing them my firearms to shoot, I could potentially be charged with felony. So this law, 594, is actually discrimination against the LGBT community. The only type of training many of them will get is the type of training that the Pink Pistols will give them. So when you hear some of the wealthy benefactors of this law come down and say, this is all about public safety, it absolutely is not. Because the LGBT community is that much less safe because they can't go to the range with me and the Pink Pistols and learn how to shoot safely. I guess that's about it. Thank you for your time.
All right. Is Alan Gottlieb still here? I think he probably did as well. I had someone over here looking for him, so wanted to get that out there and find out. Okay, our next speaker here is celebrated blogger, writer, gun rights activist, competitive shooter, host and founder of Boomer Shoot, Joe Huffman, well known for his work as the founder, long-range precision rifle. Boomer Shoot is a long-range precision rifle event with high explosives to targets. Attendees get to enjoy the excitement of explosive targets in a safe environment. But the secret of Boomer Shoot is not just that, but they offer quality rifle instruction among the fun and fellowship. All right, Joe Huffman.
Thank you. Why background checks? The claimed purpose of background checks is to prevent people who shouldn't have guns from acquiring them. That's a noble objective. It sounds so reasonable and so common sense that I want to agree with that without even giving a second thought. It's such a great idea. I think maybe we should apply that to some other dangerous things. Let's have background checks before people can purchase, say, recreational drugs. Keeping recreational drugs out of the hands of people that likely abuse them is just as common sense, right? Yep. Oh, that's right. We already have something way beyond background checks in place for most recreational drugs.
Good to see you. You bet. See you later. It's good to meet you guys.
felony if you don't know who owns the weapon. It's his. No, it's his. No, it's his. Oh. Yeah, anybody else want to do a felony with me? All you have to do is take it and hand it back.
Very nice. What model is it?
A cigar?
12 gauge. Cigar.
Hey, you got another taker behind you.
Absolutely would love to.
Holy crap, look at all these felonies.
Is that right? My name's Jose. Get it right. That's mine. Anybody else? Here, look at that fine. Oh, wow. Thanks for giving my gun back.
I want to carry it. If I want to carry music,
Anthony Boswell.
I like it. I'm actually making
Correct. Yakima, Washington. Yakima.
She's one of the coordinators for the December 13th rally.
I also run for sheriff in Yakima.
It was a damn shame you didn't win.
No, I actually run for sheriff.
Can I have this back now,
Yes, you can.
Mr. Bosworth?
Now I gotta go back down here and find my other one. My wife took care of it. Don't tell him it's her. Sure. It actually is. Oh, we're about to have a minor commit a felony here. Oh, no.
Oh, my.
Oh. No, you got to take me back.
You ever seen this?
I don't think so.
It's a Rock River LAR PDS.
That is awesome. She's a very good shot, too.
You know, this thing's a 5.56 pistol.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
That is badass.
Oh, no kidding.
That's pretty awesome.
I got a magazine that was a terrible finish. I just went to Welch's about it. It's like $1,600. So.
You sure?
It's a pretty nice gun.
Are you scared? Is it scary looking?
I would sure love for you.
The other media likes to say scary.
Ain't willing to back up your oath there? It's an unconstitutional. Ain't willing to back up your oath?
There you go. There's an AK pistol right there. It's the M92.
Sure? We'll back you up.
Yeah, we want to see State Patrol
If
break
they
laws.
take your job, we'll fight them on it. We will fight them on it if they take your job. Sure?
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back.
I got it right before
Anybody
the price
else?
started skyrocketing. Oh, I know, man. People started selling for $900.
Would you like to commit a felony with me? Have a nice day.
You know, if they take your weapon and search it and hand it back to you, they're committing a felony.
Exactly.
You can't give it to
Not
them,
even the
that's a-
State Patrol will take my weapon.
Well, you
for a
can't
felony.
hand it to them because it's a felony. So if they want to go see your weapon, that's a felony transfer.
All right. Well, everybody, let's go in and let's go. Anthony Bosworth.
That is pretty sick.
Like that, it's got a 45 round magazine in it.
That is awesome.
All right, Patriots. Let's take our capital.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, they're not going to let us in there.
Why? It's your constitutional right. I don't see where my constitutional right says. Carry on. Thank you.
Come on up, Patriots! Come on up! We're going fourth floor. Fourth floor to this side.
Hey, Jack. Can you get everybody up there?
You're all right, buddy. You're all right.
Okay. Okay, when we all get in there, we're going to sit down, be respectful, and be quiet, because they're in our session. Thank you.
Consent of the House, the minutes of the sitting table stand approved. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Fourth order of business, with the consent of the House, the bills, memorials, and resolutions printed on today's introduction sheet will be considered first reading under the fourth order of business and will be referred to the committee so designated. Except House Bill 1192 is referred to capital budget and 1194 is referred to labor. Hearing no objections, so ordered. With the consent of the House will now adjourn until 9:55, Friday, January 16th, the fifth legislative day. Hearing no objections, so ordered. The House is now adjourned until 9:55 a.m., Friday, January 16th.
Write that down in the thing there, Howard.
Unconstitutional. You guys don't even work. Work for us and look at you. They don't come to work. This is what you guys do when the people ask for things to be done.
Sorry about that, sir.
Yeah, they shut down because we were exercising our Second Amendment rights. Oh my God! Yeah, the guns you need to worry about are the ones you don't see.
Well, the ones that they don't have to worry about is the ones that are coming into our country to get us.
Hey, anybody who's still standing here, I would like to get a picture of all of us in here.
We're going to borrow good?
If you don't have them, not maybe all on one side of it.
Hey, let's take a picture of them not being here.
Yeah, why not go to the
All right. Yeah, let's go down and take their seats.
That's what we should do because they have the right to take their seats.
Let's go take their
They don't do
seats.
it. See, apparently don't know the Constitution.
Okay, let's turn around and can you get it down that way? How about we take a break, go over to the other side, just go out the hallway, go over to the other
Okay, just a second.
Can I go around the other side?
If it's open.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to run. Sorry. Got it. I'm sorry. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're going to put your weapons up.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Everybody stand fast right here, okay? I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm prepared for
Hey, everyone! Hey, let's go down there to where we have the right to sit in our chairs.
Hang on one sec. It'll be worth your time.
Just remind me if I forget.
Okay, I won't let you forget. I'll be like, Sam, I need that guy's name.
Is this an orgy of homosexuality going on right
If I was a guy, everybody would know.
Why show up at all? If you're gonna do well, you're gonna have the email. Well, I suppose so, but is that normally how it is on Thursdays? 40 minutes. So it's also parliamentary kind of thing. We wish. We were kind of hoping. Thanks for explaining that. So they're all out there just working on bills.
It won't be on the floor. I just explaining that we were in pro forma. This is
Let's go down there and sit in their seats. They don't want to be here.
They're coming. Yes, wait.
The word hasn't spread. You see these guys doing this, Lieutenant?
Yeah.
This is alarming to me.
If I sling it, it's on my finger's right here. There's no way to put it over my shoulder. It's not over
I'll just put out an announcement right now. Hey guys, quick announcement. We're getting some concern about muzzle control, checking the weapons, clearing them to make sure if we're passing them. Let's not give them any reason to make us look any worse than they're probably already going to. So just remember your barrels. Remember to check the weapons, make sure they're clear. Every gun is a loaded gun.
Guys,
I understand that, but for me to sling my weapon, this would be slung.
That's a tactical carry of a weapon, and this is a place.
Sir, please.
Just, yeah, we don't.
Is there a way that you can carry that? Well, more secure would be like this, just the way I was handling it. This is actually the carry that you taught in the military.
We had a discussion about this before you guys came up here, and it was agreed that you were going to carry it in the front carry. And I'm just bringing it to your attention that we don't want to arrest anybody, but we will. And it won't be for 594, it will be for the laws we already have on the books, which is 941-270, the intimidating carry of your weapon. This affects other people in this building, not just you. When you shoulder your weapon, it's a safe manner. That's how they teach you to do it when you're safe, like this. That's not offensive to anybody. But when you carry it like this, like you're ready to do combat, then it looks a lot more offensive, and that's all I'm asking. Just to carry it.
That's the way they're here to safe.
You have a way to secure it.
The way they're, I mean, I can stick it in a pocket, but...
Well, it is a pistol, so you could conceal it if you have a CPO.
I do have a CPO, but I'm just saying, I'm not sure.
That is a pistol.
I'm trying. I mean, is that better? I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the way around.
We're on your side.
No,
We're on the same side.
we want to be safe. We don't want to give them any reason.
Hey, 20 years in the military. I served my country. I know how to handle a weapon. I know how to safely handle a weapon. I've never had a negligent discharge.
You should hear me when I'm offensive.
My name is Jason McMillan.
Yeah, but we don't want to be offensive.
McMillan. I'm from Spanaway, Washington.
That's what I said.
Oh,
did I say it
the problem is I'm tired of our tyrannical government stomping on our rights. People enacting laws that are basically violating the Constitution. It doesn't matter if it's on there or not. Simple fact of the matter is it violates our rights.
I was going to say, we've got 2nd Connecticut Regiment launches always looking for a few new recruits.
Well, the only thing I've got is fits.
It doesn't say if you've got a license to carry a concealed pistol. It doesn't say that you have to have halfway there.
About halfway there, yeah.
It says
All I need
that
is a must carry.
now, if you're a felon, you go to prison, you get out of prison, you've served your time. You get your rights back. It doesn't say that you're a felon, you can't have it anymore because you've been a felon once before. It says you've paid your time to society.
I usually just carry my Glock.